The stone is not touching the center line. It can be moved. It just can't leave the field of play.
Yeah. She's not gonna.
This one has to curl quite a bit if it's
Hey Mark, you ready for this game tonight?
Yeah, I'm excited, man. Cupsy, what are you doing over there?
Don't worry, boys. Was just on AztecSafety.com, took a fire extinguisher safety course. Paul, I'm putting out the fires from now on. Woo!
Welcome. Looks like the curlers have started early here in Martensville for the Saskatchewan mixed provincial final between Hartung Red Rocks and Springer Yellow Rocks for a chance to go to represent Saskatchewan at Nationals November 8th to 15th later this year in Prince Edward Island. I am joined by my good buddy and former teammate Brett Redikoff.
Hey, so it looks like we just got started here. We are on second stones. Fairly simple end, wide open, and looks like we're just getting started.
We got, for those who are wondering how this works, this is 8 ends of play with time clocks 30 minutes per team of thinking time, 1 timeout per team, and additional extra time and additional timeout if an extra end is needed. Looks like your classic, fairly simple first end. Throw them there, run them through, get the ice worked in.
Yeah, it's a great way to get a handle on the ice, especially since Springer hasn't played since yesterday around 7:30. So they're just everybody's trying to get a handle on the ice. What do they do for pregame practice, if anything?
I believe it's 9 minutes or 8 minutes, and you can throw whatever you want to throw. In the triple knockout, it was draw to the button, but since Springer came from the 1v2, Springer gets hammer.
Just trading stones up and down the center ice. Nice and quick way to build a little bit of time for later in the game, and like you said, Trevor, just getting the ice worked in and knowing where your stones are going to go.
So here you have Hartung's third, Christy Gamble. You run through the lineups while we have time, while they just play a simple end. For Team Tyler Hartung, they come into the event 6-2. They came their way out of the 3v4 game and won the semifinal earlier today against Mitch Critton. Their lineup consists of lead, Stasha Wisniewski-Starkel, second, Jaden Schwaga, third, Christy Gamble, and of course, Tyler Hartung.
Team Springer is coming in with Chantel Martin as lead, Drew Springer throwing second, Jill Springer throwing third, and of course Garret throwing last.
Springer also, to note, they are undefeated so far this weekend in Martensville. I've done a few games this weekend so far, and I wrote a couple of key notes down for each team coming into this game. For Hartung, piece of the game is use Schwaga's peel weight runners when needed. Basically means when you're in trouble, bail early. Schwaga, an excellent run back player. And then as well for Hartung, keep it close with the front end. As Garret, skip for Springer, is shooting lights out. If you can keep it close with the front end and force him to make more difficult shots at the end of the end. And for Springer, keys to the game, no fear. Be aggressive. They've been the better team all weekend, I should say. So don't be afraid to lose. Play the shots for the win and let your talent speak for itself.
Yeah, that's a really great way to go into this game. Like you said, they haven't lost a game yet here this weekend. So, just keep doing what you're doing, and you hopefully will come out on top. So, really good teams going into this final, and we're coming into Skip Stone. So, really quick first end, and we should see a little bit more of an aggressive start to next end.
Should be a good one here today. Hope you guys are excited to be tuned in to see who can represent Saskatchewan in Prince Edward Island later this year. Tyler just looking for the nose hit, and we'll roll out. Probably see Springer play the freeze here. He's okay with the blank, but if there is a chance at a deuce, he might as well try for it.
Yeah, this is really his only opportunity, and it's not a bad shot. Like going into the freeze at the back end, there could be a little bit of a mistake had. You do have to be a little bit more careful with it. If for some reason that Hartung does make a perfect freeze, it does make it a little bit tougher to get out and might end up in a force or in a single for Hartung. So you just got to be careful with the shot.
On your left, you can see that is what the Curlews are playing for. The trophy, the hearts, and the green jacket. Garret Springer's first rock in the first end, looking to play anywhere in front of that yellow, as long as it's in the house. Don't want to be a guard here, as that gives Hartung an opportunity to draw around, and they will bring it in just above the tee line. Great sweep by Drew and Chantel Martin.
Yeah, really good spot for it to end up, and they're just going to play the hit and roll over to the left side, avoiding the jam at the back.
Yes, if you're looking at the camera on the right-hand side, the overhead, they want to roll to the left, obviously, because right underneath Gamble's legs there is the yellow you can't jam on. So if Tyler plays this and rolls out, it's not a big deal, obviously. Springer's going to try for the blank regardless. You just don't want to jam here. Last rock here for Tyler Hartung. Looks like he's throwing enough weight that the jam would not come into play. Does he hang on?
He does. Just stick around. So they will have to hit it here, and it looks like they are going to take the intern side at it and take the long roll out.
Be pretty tough to jam this. You'd almost have to borderline miss this red rock.
Yeah, just a super thin, just touch it is the only way that you can really miss this and jam on your own yellow. So as long as you don't hit too much of it and roll over to center line, you should be clean blank.
Garret Springer in his last. First end of this final. Trying to get it to curl up and roll it out of the rings for a blank. And he will do that successfully, getting a little closer to the back yellow than he wanted, but rolls out with ease, and we are underway with a 0-0 score after one.
Developed over a decade in collaboration with the finest ice makers this side of the Atlantic, the Pebblehead PB5 is nothing short of a triumph of sophistication and craftsmanship. Weighing less than half its lumbering copper predecessors, yet boasting tenfold their durability, the PB5 delivers perfect, consistent ice, time after time. The PB5 by Pebbleheads.com, the apex of ice-making ingenuity for the roaring game of curling.
Brett, come on, man. I know Aztec's #1 for online safety training, but we really should be out here practicing.
I know, guys. I'll be right there. Just let me finish this course on gas detection. Wait. Do you smell that?
Back here at the Martensville Curling Club for the Saskatchewan Mixed Provincials between Hartung and Springer. Second end of action. Blank end taken by Springer, who has hammer as he came from the 1v2.
Yeah, it looks like they're just getting this end started off. The call was the corner guard, so they are going to be playing this a little bit more aggressively than the last end. Staja puts a really nice one on center line in the 4-foot there, and that was a real nice throw by Chantal as the corner guard comes up. And Staja's second stone's coming in here. The original call was the guard. They do got to get it over. So Schwaga's there just trying to push it over, and he does. Really nice throw. Nice pair by Staja, the lead on Hartung's team, Team Red. Call here's the come around on the corner guard. They did start sweeping straight out of Chantal's hand, so they did think it was maybe a little bit light, and here it is coming up just a little bit short, just touching the 12-foot. It is half buried, so not a bad throw there at all, and will allow for a freeze on that red stone. So
Pretty good throw there from Chantal Martin. Obviously, undercover is the first thing you want. A little bit more close to the tee line would have been better, but they'll take that starting here in the second.
Yeah, just a really good outcome. I mean, a little bit deeper is always nicer, but I mean, now you can almost use that as a double corner guard as well. So
very true. Jin Schwaga, his first rock in the second end, looking to add another guard and put the pressure on Springer here as Hartung is going aggressive mode early.
it looks like that's what they called. They originally had thought that Hartung had called the freeze on the red, but that is a really good outcome. Putting a couple of guards up there, it does allow for that double peel to be played and possibly leave another corner guard. So we'll see what happens here on Drew's first.
There is a chance to get all three here if Drew hits it right.
Yeah, if you do end up getting all three, I think you do move that yellow stone out of play on the right-hand side, so you do have to be a little bit careful of that.
Well, here you have Drew, who can throw the upweight ability with ease. How close will he get? He'll stuff the one on the center line and roll his second for a wide corner guard. Hit it a lot thicker than he had wanted to.
It does now leave that red stone in the 4-foot quite a bit more open than it was before. So while he did stuff the double peel, it is a lot nicer to look at for Team Springer now.
So I believe Hartung is now called the draw.
Yeah, I think the call was top 8, top 12, something like that.
Sweepers Gamble and Wisniewski Starkel backing off of this one. Maybe the guard was the play, or they just knew that it was not going to get there out of the hand. Anyway, he guards the right side of the rock anyway, so Drew cannot see it.
Yeah, it looks like they're just going to double check the angles on this rock, and they will be playing that double peel again, I believe. You know, it looks like Garret is concerned about losing that yellow stone that's directly guarding the one in the 12-foot. You know, it's tough when you're gonna get rid of a guard for your own rock, but you have to get rid of these two up front. Otherwise, there's just no access to that 1 and 4-foot. So the double peel's what's being played.
Oh, and he'll end up just hitting off nose, ticking into his corner, and then bumping off the 1, top of the 4. Now sitting side of the 4 with the guard slightly off of center line. So Drew a little bit thicker on both of his peels in the second end.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. Sometimes when that happens, it's really tough to say what's going to come into the house and run off your own rocks or off your opponent's rocks, and they just ended up getting a little bit unlucky and leaving that red stone in play. So it is wide open. They are playing the come around now. Try and put a little bit of pressure on Garret and the yellow team. So we'll see where this ends up here. Sweepers started right off the bat, though.
Throttle will be used quite heavily in this game as he will jump over from side to side based off straight or curl. Obviously, depending on his energy levels, as that one will come up short of the rings, exposing the red, the lonesome rock in the rings right now belonging to Hartung.
You know, there's two different ways you can throw this. You can play to the wing, the hit and roll over to the wing, which is what they were originally looking at, and you can also play over to the center. However, if you do end up rolling a little bit behind T-line, there will be that out-turn draw to freeze, you know, making the scoring a little bit tougher. I think even if they do make this shot, it will be a come around that center line for Hartung anyways. So the hit and roll is what's been called over to the wing. Just off nose. Jill Springer on her first.
Now how you'll see Hartung try and get underneath that red. It is almost a staggered center guard, so a good chance here for Chris to gamble.
Sweepers watching it all the way down. Looks like they're going to be hitting on the wrong side of the rock, pretty close to nose.
Right on the beak. Thought they might have called the audible to roll underneath the corner, but they thought to see how much it was going to come up on its own.
Did leave it in the wide open. I think you still have to play over to the wing and force them to make a draw. I mean, there still hasn't been a whole lot of draws been thrown in this game yet, and nothing on that out-turn side. So I don't mind leaving them that for their first.
Now throwing one of 3 springers on the ice this afternoon. Until Martin trying to get this to curl to try and stay in the house. And this one will roll out of play, swept by Tyler Hartung, and will now be playing the draw with no rocks in the rings. I'm just going to speculate that might have been a little more weight than they wanted based off how easily that rolled out of the rings.
Yeah, I agree. I think that might have been a little more than they wanted. I think they did want to over curl that and get it over to the wing. So yeah, they might have been just a little bit more than what they were expecting.
Skip rocks in the second end. Tyler Hartung, if he can place this top 4 butting the button underneath the red, it'll make things difficult for Team Springer. Schwaga on the left, Josh on the right, and again, using Jade and Schwaga for the sweep. Now he backs off completely. He might have overcooked this. Eustache alone. It's got a curl, and it looks like it's going to be pretty good. Right to the tee line, dead buried. Springer can come to it and bounce off of it, though. Right on the nose to become shot rock.
You know, that rock came in. We're in second end, and nothing has been played out there, and that was a 14-6 hog-to-hog time, which is fairly quick in your second end. To your point there, Trevor, I don't think it's really tough to get that rock to move any. And this is going to be tough to get not only shot, but to have a second shot at it. So
we might see that yellow angle run played later in this end if this red does not move. Garret Springer now with his first rock in the second end. Hartung sitting back of the tee line, looking to freeze, and if he has the line and knows, can bump it only a couple inches. Now you can see Drew hopping over to the right-hand side, trying to get some curl. Now he's going right behind for as much distance as possible. Gets it to just off nose and moves it. Another rock. Let's see if we can zoom in. They're looking at whose shot. Looks like red to me.
yeah, original call from Team Hartung was they indicated that Redstone was shot. So they are just going to try and put one right in the top button as second shot and make that tap quite a bit harder. So that's what the call is, and I think they're just taking a double look at it, make sure that they're not missing anything. But I think the call here is draw right to the top of the button to sit 2.
And it's important to think about tolerance if you're a curler at any level. Obviously, you want to make the shot here and be frozen on the yellow, but you got to think, what can't you do? And you can't go behind the tee line. If you end up as a high guard, that'll still take away this in-turn draw here. So Tyler's got to take that in consideration. Although if he does come up light, it might leave Springer with the same shot he just played.
And that will be for 2 this time. So you do have to be a little bit more cognizant of where your tolerance is going to be. But I'm expecting this to be right on the top of the button.
Hartung with his last, already sitting 1, but Springer has the pressure on for a potential score of 2 with hammer. Schwager was sweeping at the first half, being called off, and now he's back on with the help of Stock. Trying to lock this one on top button of the yellow rock. Now Schwager with his head down, trying to dig through some extra strokes. And will be a pretty good rock, as it's 3/4 the top of the 4-foot.
Yeah, after taking a quick look here, even if you do play the tap, what you had just thrown just a stone ago, I think that Garret only has a shot for 1. Even if you do remove that stone at the back of the 4-foot, far enough out. That top red will be second shot, so this will be a shot for 1.
Really nice throw there by Tyler Hartung and judged by the sweepers, who swept it the first half, let it find its line, and then swept it again. So Garrett's going to throw what I would assume to be similar weight to his first, maybe a hair more. Try and catch a quarter of this yellow, Carrie Anderson style, and push it straight sideways. Only needs to move it a couple inches to score his 1 here in the second end. Drew Springer on the sweep. You don't have to hair this guard, but you got to get a little close. Now he's really digging in, being called off. Might see some curl here at the end. He's just cleaning it. Now he's going in. Just got to nudge the yellow over just a bit, and he will. Very nice shot there by Garret Springer to score his 1. And we have our first score of the game. 1-0 Springer after the second end of play here in Martensville.
Aztec Safety is #1 for online safety training.
Aztec Safety is the proud sponsor of the Aztec Safety Challenge, the #1 event on the World Curling Tour.
And Aztec Safety has been a proud sponsor of Team Jacobs on our quest to represent Canada at the Olympic Games.
And welcome back to the third end here. We just had a really good shot by Springer in the second to tap up their yellow for a single. Just had nice center line guard being played, and the come around coming here next. And that rock comes up just a little bit deep, giving them an opportunity to play the tight freeze or even the top 4 draw around the center line guard. We do finally have our camera angles back, so we'll be able to see this a little bit better. And that one,
there we go, figuring it out.
A little bit too wide, just didn't curl quite enough. Really great weight. Just left it out there a little bit too far.
And you can just see how high that yellow guard is there. You can just see the shadow of it on the right-hand side of the screen. Stasha and her second rock. This third end looking to come into the forefoot and create some good angles here for Hartung, who now has hammer for the first time in this mixed provincial final game.
Schwaga on the broom and gets it right down to almost to the pin, leaving a little bit of room there to play the lightweight bump and roll, just to move those stones a little bit behind that tee line.
A nice shot there by Stasha. Springer now looking to nose. Not wanting to be shot here, but will be sitting in front of the red if this is made perfectly.
And once again, we will point out that there are 3 springers on this team, so this is Drew throwing second stones on his first.
And having the other springer trying to knife this one over, trying to get to as close as nose as you can, and this one looks like it's going to be pretty close, and it will hit just off nose, leaving red sitting 1, but surrounded by 2 yellows at the moment.
You know, I think that call was I think they threw just a little bit more weight than they wanted to. You know, as it did stay out there quite a bit further as they were knifing all the way down. So, you know, a little bit less weight there would have made the shot a little nicer for them as Jaden's throwing his second. So,
a little bit of adrenaline here. It is a final game. Usually the common miss in a game like this is a little bit of an overthrow. Maybe some Schwaga. He's trying to cross nose. And he will cross nose a hair, not as much as he would have liked, leaving yellow shot rock now.
Yeah, leaving that Springer stone in behind that red. You know, it's a really good place to end up if you were gonna just under curl that a little bit. That being said, they're just trying to figure out what they want to do. I think the corner freeze is probably best, and they're showing that there now. The other option for Hartung here is to hit the. Oh, sorry, this is Springer here. The other option for him is you can just throw one a little bit higher up, but I think the freeze is really the only option they have.
I like the freeze. Obviously, if you come up top 12, that's okay.
Yeah, you just need to get out in front of it just a little bit. Take away that red-yellow combination.
Drew and his second rock in the third end. Martin and Springer on the broom. They have backed off completely. Looks like Jill is being ready to knife it over if possible. And it will settle right beside the red. Yellow is sitting 2, potentially 3.
Yeah, that second stone there by Drew just came up a little bit heavy and bounced off. The best part about where he's sitting right now is it's almost 3/4 buried, so they can't come at it with a heavyweight hit and double out those yellows, if you can see on the left-hand side. So it looks like they're just going to come in with some lighter weight, possibly just hit the open one, and then they're also looking at the peel. So a couple of different options here. We'll see what they end up doing.
Don't know if they decided yet. Looks like there goes Tyler. Walk up and just get rid of the guard. Just the straight peel here. Maybe if you catch that side yellow on the forefoot, that's okay as well. Schwaga. Peel weight. He's going to catch the one in the... No! Oh! Through the hole of top 4 and side 4 there. Try and do that again. And he doesn't roll the guard over to where he wanted it.
Yeah, just missed that run back. Does leave a little bit of a guard up there. So they do want to kind of replace that, and that is what the final call is going to be. And this is going to be, I believe, Jill on her first.
Easy, line's more important than that. It's got a curl, it's always curls. Curl it out to a mile.
Drew switching over sides. Trying to get it to curl. Trying to bite center line if they can. And it'll come up as a 2.5 guard. and will be a little off center line. And there will be a hole if Hartung wants to play at it.
Yeah, I think, there is an opportunity to make that double. You do have to throw maybe a little bit less weight. The other option is the hit and roll over to corner guard, that red one. But I think you have to take a chance at that double right now. So I think that's what the call is here on I believe it's Christine's second. So
This will be Christie's first rock here in the
Christie's
third.
first rock.
Playing the intern at it, is what I would be calling. No sweep yet, though. Now Schwaga hopping on, really digging. This thing is moving a lot, trying to get it by, and he does. Does she clip the second? And she does, and roll underneath of Jill Springer's guard. Nice
Really
shot
nice
there.
throw. Really nice throw by Christine Gamble there, leaving her shot stone just under that center line yellow guard. Making the next shot here for yellow a little bit tougher. I think at some point you are going to have to start removing a stone or two if you can, but because of the two guards up there, it makes it a lot more difficult and a lot lighter weight available. So the call here is going to be the run back. There are a lot of reds up there, so fairly large wall. Hopefully you catch something on the way through and lose the guard in the process.
Jill Springer and her second rock. I thought they were playing the run back. Looks like they're playing the ball. Drew's going to have to get this one by the first one. I don't think it will. Oh, he'll just barely tick it. And go through everything in the house. As Jill
Just through
the
the
room
hole.
just a bit. Good sweep by Drew, as I thought that was all over the guard, and it just barely nudged it.
Yeah, like
Nudged it so little that it didn't even move over.
Yeah, no, it's still guarding pretty much what it was before. Might have just clipped the backside of it on its way through.
So Tyler asking Christy, just a hit on this lonesome yellow here. Hartung does have hammer and looking to sit. Nice Stasha now, seeing if she can keep the shooter. And the shooter will roll out. And will remove the yellow as well. Would have been nice to keep that, but I'm sure Springer would have played a hit and roll off of it if she only nosed it.
Yeah, it's hard to say because that would have probably been behind the tee line or just level with the tee line. They might still be playing this shot regardless of that one stuck around.
So if he hits this dead nose or just a shade off, looks like he'll get the run double. And if he catches it pretty thin, you could see a potential bing, bing, boom triple.
Is that the call? I thought the call was the lightweight out turn onto the red and roll.
Oh, is that what they're doing again?
I think so.
You're right. Yeah. The broom was in the spot where it could have been for both. My bad. Play something cool, Garrett. Come on. Avoid the yellow here on the center line. They do. Roll it right underneath. They'll kiss right beside it. And the yellow will hang on at the back of the 12.
You know, you can see about 3/4 a stone, if not maybe a little bit more. So this is going to be a lighter weight, just hit and roll over behind that red corner.
There you can see Stasha passing Tyler his little mini stick broom. A nice little hair broom that he has sawed off that he uses as a sliding broom. Hartung looking like they are going to score multiple with last rock, as Tyler Hartung is delivering his first rock here in the third end of this 8-end game. Looking to live 4. They might have Stasher go on this one, or they will just watch it tick the guard. That might have been a lot more weight than they wanted.
You know, like you said, you get into these final games, you get a little bit more excited, and it is a little bit harder to control your weight and keep it down. And I think that's exactly what happened there. It just didn't come over, a little bit too much weight. Opens up that corner guard, and now with Garrett's last one here, they are just trying to decide where the best option is for this stone. You know, you have the option of the guard. I'd be a little bit concerned about throwing the guard. You could throw the tap as well as the freeze. Actually, I personally, I think I like the freeze. There is the option of the hit on the red as well. What do you like, Trevor?
I think the freeze is pretty good. If you end up a couple rocks heavy, you can tap it on nose, and if you're on nose, at least Hartung is not going to have a double.
Yeah, I tend to want to agree with that because there is the outturn peel half rock, and it'll just shoot that yellow out the side. So you do have to be a little bit more concerned about that. I don't mind this hit on the back one either. It doesn't really leave a double for him, so it would just leave an open hit, or it wouldn't even leave an open hit for one. He would have to make the draw for one. So I think if they do,
you go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say if he does hit that red stone right on the nose. My original point was going to be if there was a hit on the yellow at the back of the house would still be shot. So either way, the freeze and the hit would have been for a single point for Hartung. So really good end played, and Springer looks like he's going to come out of it. Assuming
you had answered my question. I was going to say if he hits or freezes the back one, I was going to say, who do you think is second shot? But you had just answered that, so thank you very much. So what did they decide here?
I think Garrett's just playing the freeze, and like you mentioned, I believe it's just going to be freeze to tap.
Drew Springer on the sweep. Looks like this one has a long way to go. And hopping over to the other side is Chantel Martin. Both trying to get the heavy strokes to get it to curl. And they will bite the rings. Edge on edge with the guard. Think that rock does its trick.
Yeah, I think there might be... It's tough to say, but I think there might be a nose hit to sit for 3. But if they don't elect to throw that, there will be just an open draw for 1.
That runner of that yellow definitely doesn't come without risk. If you're ever hairside, you're taking out your red and stuffing. Yellow to potentially stay there. I'd be playing this this outturn slash. If you look between Tyler and Schwager right there, now on the right side of Tyler, you can see maybe a quarter rock of that red. Hit it so thin that that yellow goes sideways, and you may keep that red there, and if not, then you'll get your 2 if the red goes with it.
Yeah, I think if they do make that outturn slash, I do think that red goes. I don't think it sticks around, so that would be a shot for 2. That's a very difficult shot, though.
Yeah, looking at it now, especially from the hack that Tyler's going to be throwing from, I don't even think they looked at it. Tyler now coming over to the corner guard. Is there a potential in-off or slash? Looks like he's going for the in-off instead. That is a really difficult attempt. Don't think there's any harm unless you somehow hit the top 12 one straight back onto the red.
Yeah, like with this in-off here, I think there's more harm that can be done than not. because if you do hit that a hair thicker, that yellow does go into that red, and it does give up 2.
I'd be almost tempted to play the slash runner versus the in-off, as long as boards don't come into play.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the slash double is definitely the easier option.
Let's see if I can figure out this replay button in case he makes a beauty here. I only tried it once and I screwed it up earlier in the week. Tyler Hartung. Last rock Springer. Sitting top of the 4. Hartung looking for a very difficult, thin in-off attempt with the out turn. Sweepers have backed it off completely. Now Stasha trying to get it to curl, catch a piece, and will go right by, and a steal of 1 for a well-played end by Springer. Takes a 2-0 lead after 3.
Who knew after 20 years in real estate I'd have to make silly videos for Instagram and come out behind a tree?
Stu, we need to do this stuff.
Why can't I just door knock into open houses like I did in the old days?
That doesn't work anymore.
Okay, so it's because I'm sitting here behind a tree. Come use us for real estate.
All right, real talk for a second. If your snack situation hasn't changed in years, maybe it's time for an upgrade. The Chocolate Lab makes legit chocolate that's worth paying attention to. That's it. Back to whatever you were doing.
Town.
All right, coming into this 4th end here, it was quite a good end last end, and Springer did end up coming out with a steal. So if you take a look at the top of your left-hand screen, it is a 1-point steal in the 3rd end for Springer.
And starting this end, Chantel Martin with her first rock was asked to draw top 4, but goes top 8. And then Stasha, you can see the left rock there. If you look at the left screen, corner guard. And Martin trying to draw back to the center line, and that's a better stone there for Chantel.
Yeah, that back 8 stone right off the bat doesn't help a whole bunch. It is in the rings, but sometimes they do a little bit more harm than good. So this is going to be Stasha's 2nd stone coming around the corner guard.
Now, with how much curl James gets here at Martensville, you would have liked Stasha's guard a little bit tighter. Depending on where this one goes, it could be chaseable. Schwaga trying to get as much buried as he can, and that looks like that is pretty much buried. Maybe an 1/8 poking out.
Yeah, I think it might be even a little bit more than that. I mean, we do have a pretty tough look at it, but coming off center line, I think about half of a stone is visible. This is going to be for probably a board weight, maybe a hack weight on Drew's first one here. So
here you'll get a good look at it. Martin and Springer on the sweep. Trying to keep it straight. like this is going to be a good rock, and they can roll it to the center line just a little bit, and a nice throw there by Drew. Goes to show my further point on the nice swing of the ice, and that is why you want a tight corner guard so that chase isn't as chaseable.
Yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that guard is a little bit higher up than you want it, and like I said, there was a little bit more sticking out, and makes that hit and roll a little bit easier too. So if they did get it over a little more, that might not have been possible. We do have a great throw here, just over curls a little bit.
Trying for the hit and roll to sandwich between the yellows. Schwager will just roll out a rock or two on the other side of center line. And now Drew Springer throwing his last rock. Working on it. Just want to flop it a rock. And we'll go back to the other side of center line, behind T line. So rolled it a little bit more than what they wanted.
So I missed the call here. What's he playing? Is it just going to be the...
I think it's the hit and roll underneath the corner guard.
Is that what he's playing? With both of those yellows behind the T line, I think that's probably your best bet. And they do just clip off that top yellow, so it just didn't quite curl as much as they were expecting, if that's the weight they were looking for. It does roll out, leaving those 3 rocks in play.
So once they hit the hog line, looked like they were trying for the audible, try and get it by and hit the back one. But by then it was too late and just clips the front one just a hair to move it over, not much at all. And the only harm now basically is that corner guard, and Joe's going to be asked just to get rid of it. And this one is not going to get rid of it. We'll just replace it with a yellow rock.
Yeah, a little bit of a mistake there. If you were going to do that, you do have to lose that corner guard, but at least it is replaced with the yellow. So Springer is sitting 3 in the house and 1 up front. So Hartung will have to throw this fairly accurately to have a chance at scoring.
Schwager with a bit of sweep. This one looks like it's going to be really close. And it looks almost perfect by Christy Gamble.
Yeah, really good outcome there. It does just get in behind that corner guard that was replaced by Springer. So they are just going to do a straight peel on this and try and get rid of it.
Second attempt here at peeling this guard by Jill Springer. Just got a little bit tight with her first. All you got to do is hit half a rock and roll this away. This one looks a lot closer. Drew is just cleaning it. And away the corners go. So no guards in play. 1 rock above T-line and 2 behind the T-line. Looks like yellow is sitting 1.
Troopers have backed off a little bit here. Trying to figure out where they want this stone to end up. Coming in a little bit hot on the freeze and just gets stuck in between those two yellows.
So obviously, with the mixed teams here, girl, boy, usually this is the only event that they play with each other in the year. Communication, normal teammate dynamics might not be as smooth as your normal team, but it seems to be, in more cases than not, that if the first shot that's called isn't made, they kind of give up. Whereas if you keep that one straight, you might be able to hang it on nose or 3/4 of the back center line yellow.
Yeah, like you said, they don't play enough together. With one event a year and possibly only a couple of extra games, it is hard to get that communication right, and they're just not the people you're used to playing with. There are different personalities and different play styles that does change it a little bit. But looks like here we get a pretty nice stone by Garret Springer and a nice hit and roll over in front of his yellow. So yellow looks like sitting the 2. You know, go ahead.
As I say, we're just going to look at a zoomed in house here. You can see the yellow just underneath the scoreboard, the red, and the other yellow, all behind T line. So a little bit of a wall that Hartung can try to use here, playing a lightweight hit and roll off of the top 4 yellow.
Yeah, you almost want to try and catch the back one, move it just out of reach of that red, and leave first and second shot as yours on Hartung's team. So they are going to be playing a fairly low weight hit and roll. I don't think either of the yellows are going to leave the house, assuming the weight is right. So we will see quite a few rocks behind the T line here, I think.
I'm assuming this is going to be 12 seconds at the fastest, maybe closer to a 12.5 or a board weight. Hartung's first in the 4th end, playing a nice, delicate hit and roll. Sweepers have backed off. Waga leaning in just a couple clean strokes. Now he's being called on his turn. Clips the back yellow and rolls it a hair. Pretty good shot by Tyler.
Yeah, really good outcome. It does look like red is sitting 1-2. Does make this double a little bit harder to make. And now they're going to talk about playing the draw or the freeze even on that back red and just giving up the 2. If you do end up jamming this on the hit, if that's what they elect to play, there is a possibility for 3, so they do have to be a little bit more careful about that.
I would be, if you're looking at the right-hand side of the screen, if you can play like a 11-second hit on the right-hand side, roll it towards the blue guy's face, the blue man group, and it should run the red by the yellow. But if that's what you're playing, you're not scared to lose your shooter as long as you get rid of that red, because a jam brings 3 into play. Just getting rid of that red is a 2 at most and 4 ends to go when you got hammer.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be just a whether or not they feel confident enough to play it, or if they're just willing to give up the 2. It will give Hartung a little bit of a harder shot if they do play the draw, but still an opportunity for 2 nonetheless going into the 4th end break.
As we take a look at the time clocks, both teams start with 30 minutes. So 15 minutes, according to my math, is halfway. Just under halfway for Springer, but you do have a minute 30 timeout, 1 per team. And just a heads up, there will be a 4th end break. About a 4-minute break between this end for the players to use the bathroom and grab a snack. And it gives you, our audience, a chance to go grab a beer or a beverage of your choice. This might be trouble here, Brett, as he...
It does look like trouble, Trevor. Really tough one there on the jam. It does make the end a little bit more interesting. We do have an opportunity to get possibly 3. It does look like they do need to remove that front yellow, which isn't easy to stick around and sit for 3. So it would be just a draw for 2, it looks like.
I agree. There's not really any way to get that top one out and
sit for a third shot.
Yeah, so they are, as you can see, the broom there on the right-hand side, just outside middle of 12. Just going to play the draw. And I really like this choice of turn. If the sweepers communicate that we are heavy, you can come to the nose of the red or even chip off that yellow if you're quite a bit heavy. Last rock of the fourth end, already sitting what looks like 1 rock for Team Hartung, and the red rocks just needs a piece of the forefoot for his 2 to tie it up at the halfway point of the game. Draga got his head down. Stocker, Wisniewski, Starkel also with their head down. This one needs to curl a little bit. Just need a piece of the 4, and Schwaga says, yep, that's good enough. Once it hits the house, he'll just watch it stop. And we will finish the first half of this game with a tie game. 4 ends to go, tied 2-2.
Yes. Whoa. Oh, boy.
As you can see, there is a 4th end break, so curlers will be back in a couple of minutes here. back here for the second half of Saskatchewan Mixed Provincial Final. Tie game, can't ask for anything more than that. If you are just a fan of good curling, if you're a fan of one of these other teams, then it could be better or it could be worse.
You know, we had a really good end going into the fourth end there. So Hartung did end up taking his 2 to tie the game going into the break. And here we are having another really nice aggressive end. Started off by both teams.
In the hack, you have Hartung's lead, Stasha Wisniewski-Starkel, and she is the leader on the ice, curling 91% after 4 ends of play, and she just made that nice center guard, looking to lock it on 3/4 of this yellow rock.
Sticking out wide, Chantel did make, on her draw, a little bit of a wider shot, and it looks like Stasha's is going to stick out there too. As this pebble wears in, it'll just be a little bit straighter, and they'll have to keep an eye on that. But we'll leave a wide open hit and roll behind the guard to sit for 2.
And Springer's lead, Chantel Martin, also having a pretty good game, curling 84% after 4 ends of play. Drew's trying to cross nose here. You don't want to be high side, and they are high side, and an unfortunate miss there by Chantel on her second rock.
Yeah, just sticks that red on the yellow that was in the forefoot, rolls out a little bit, and does allow for a complete change of the end where on Jaden's first here, he'll be able to play the hit and roll to sit for 2, hopefully be under the guard.
As you can see, both teams are a little under halfway. Not much for time, for a little under time, not much, but something to consider as you are going forward in these, each end becoming more important than the last.
And you do have to remember there is a 90-second timeout, one available per team. We're not expecting to see that come until the end of the game, but there is an extra bit of time available for that as well.
Schwaga not quite able to get the full roll. Rolls at a rock. Springer now discussing where they want to roll their rock. Drew Springer playing the hit and roll, 81% entering the 5th end.
Looks like it's sitting out wide there. They are going to keep an eye on that double. But it looks like it's just going to be a quarter stone and just remove that red.
So a couple wide throws so far here to start the 5th. Garret coming to talk to Drew on what they saw. Was it a big set? Was it too much broom? Or do they see a trend with that rock?
Yeah, it's hard to say what they're talking about out there. Like I said at the beginning of the end, we have seen a lot of rocks under curl in that spot, so it might just be the spot that they're talking about, or it could be just a set that they're just not quite ready for here in the area. So the ice has been curling, especially on draws, a good 5.5 feet. So if they are noticing a spot, it is good to know about it now, and we do have a great shot coming in here from Schwaga. Just leaves them staggered, slightly tucked underneath that centerline guard.
I was given a word by James Gordon, the ice maker, that this final with the rocks, they're only using the rocks from sheet 2, so you only get to pick your color, and then you have to work on what pair you're throwing from there. Whereas other provincial finals, depending on where you play, sometimes you're allowed to pick any set off of any sheet, but this final is just rocks off the sheet.
So they haven't been matching stones all weekend, is what you're saying?
Just the sheet they're on. They might be throwing 2 and 7 as a pair and 1 and 8 as a pair, but you're not allowed to bring other rocks from other sheets.
Got it.
Where normally if, you know you're going to be yellow in the final, you'll look back at your stats and be like, okay, yellow from sheet 1 was by far my best game. I want the numbers that I threw there, and you bring them over. But this final is whatever's on the sheet, you got to throw.
We do have a guard coming here from Christine Gamble. Sweepers backed way off and followed it right down to center line. Looks like just about touching 12 foot there.
Christy with the nice game so far, followed curling 81% after 4 ends of play. A better game this afternoon than she had this morning, so it's nice to see that.
Got a run back on Jill Springer, trying to get all 3 of them and roll over to the left-hand side. So does get the 2 on the run back. So it does leave that single red stone in the house wide open, and really nice throw from Jill Springer.
Yes, very nice. The triple was very tough, if not even there at all. So to get the 2 and has the red sitting edge on edge, pretty much fully exposed. It's a great result. Christy Gamble now going to draw around with the out turn. You might see Jill throw another double. Second if this one's through. Jade Schwager, though, trying to get it by the yellow, and I'm just going to guess that it is not, as he gives up quite early and is now just watching it come in, hoping it stops in time so it doesn't tap the yellow into the rings, and it'll sit 7/8 low on the yellow guard.
It does come over just far enough that there is there's no hit and roll under the slight stagger. So they are going to play the hit and roll over to the left, or to the right-hand side of the rings on the right side of your screen there. Looks like going to be a fairly low weight hit and roll on Jill's second here.
And to make that shot even more unfortunate for Team Hartung, there is some drag that if Hartung was to bury a rock underneath those guards, Springer should be able to hit it borderline anywhere on that red for that yellow to come straight back. So not really any room to hide anymore.
No, like we saw in the semifinal game on Hartung's sheet there, they did play a heavy drag run back like that. So they are aware, and they will keep that in mind if they do end up getting underneath that rock there. So.
And it looked like Tyler tapped like he wanted to just bite the center line here with this roll. So he's well aware of what's out in front. We are now entering skip rocks of the 5th end, with Tyler Hartung shooting red rocks, playing the intern hit, curling a lovely 69%. After 4 ends, he probably did that on purpose, just so I could say that. Looking for the hit and roll, only wants to roll a rock to the center line side, and we'll get dead nose.
Yeah, leaves it wide open. Doesn't allow any sort of run back, but it is completely available for Springer's team to just play the hit and roll now. There is going to be, the way that they want to roll this, they're probably going to stick it so it jams, forcing Tyler on his last to play the come around.
So if Garret rolls, we'll say almost fully undercover, there might be a chance for Tyler to hit the red on the nose and lose both the yellows. But if Garret gets them all in the line, if you were to draw a line from that red through the yellow straight through the top of the 8, if he was to roll it there, you might see Tyler try and sucker draw around T-line.
Yeah, I think even if he does get this anywhere buried, I do believe that Hartung will be throwing the come around on his last regardless. There's just no reason to force that sort of error.
Springer out-curling his skip opponent by 9%, 78% after 4 ends of play, and will hit a millimeter low on nose and remain edge on edge, if not a little bit more, sitting top of the 12.
This does allow for the slight roll there. They are going to try and line it up with that yellow, so if the run back does get played, it will just be for the single, a really good force opportunity for Hartung to play. Very close to edge on edge. This isn't an easy shot. It is possible to clip off that red if you're going to play it that tight. So make contact first and then worry about the roll later.
Last rock for Hartung here. A good chance to force in the 5th and then take hammer into the 6th. Looks like they're going to get nose at best case scenario. Stasha trying to sweep it over, and they will roll over to the wing, and it will just hang on for a biter. Garret will play the blank, try and hit and roll to the boards. Nose will also be out of the rings, but you don't want to risk playing it that close.
No, they're gonna play just the hitting the peel to the boards. But like you said, if you do hit it on the nose, you are just going to be okay. You don't want to be any closer than that.
Springer gladly will accept the blank here, which means he will get hammer in the 6th end. Remember, this is an 8-end game. It's not 10. So 6th end with hammer tied is all more important than the 10-end game. Got to make the blank here, though. Drew just cleaning it. Jill raises her hand, says, good throw. Good throw, my bro. Blank end. 2-2 going into the 6th end.
Developed over a decade in collaboration with the finest ice makers this side of the Atlantic, the Pebblehead PB5 is nothing short of a triumph of sophistication and craftsmanship. Weighing less than half its lumbering copper predecessors, yet boasting tenfold their durability, the PB5 delivers perfect, consistent ice, time after time. The PB5 by Pebbleheads.com, the apex of ice-making ingenuity for the roaring game of curling.
Brett, come on, man. I know Aztec's #1 for online safety training, but we really should be out here practicing.
I know, guys. I'll be right there. Just let me finish this course on gas detection. Wait. Do you smell that?
Welcome back to the provincial mixed final here in Martensville, Saskatchewan. We are going into the 6th end. Springer and Hartung are tied. Springer does have hammer after blank end in 5.
You don't think there's no copyright music on that TSN song anymore? They don't even use that song anymore. They got like a Masters theme song now.
Yeah, I feel like you did it with your mouth, so I can't imagine they're going to come for us on that one.
Don't think their producers or lawyers are watching us anyway.
One of our 30 fans, so.
If they are watching, I love you, TSN.
Really nice pair by Stasia. throwing the lead stones for Tyler Hartung. Pair goes center line guard, center line 4 foot. So really nice throw.
Stasha having a really good game today in the 90%. And Chantel Martin with a nice tight corner guard. We had mentioned that, I think it was the second end on the depth of the corner. She wraps one around here. It'll be very tough to chase for Jaden Schwaga.
Yeah, back in the second end there, we did see that yellow corner sit just above the rock channel. So it was a little bit easier to come around, but a lot easier to hit behind as well. So really nice pair coming from Chantel as well.
Now, she did poke out the other side about half a rock, but sixth end, it's time to start going a little more aggressive, so Tyler's going to ignore that, and they do have a good setup, so a chance to put another one on top of that one with Jaden Schwaga.
Looks like it's starting to come there. Both sweepers are just going to try and lock it on to that top 4 foot sort of area.
And a nicely thrown rock there by Jaden. Playing to remove the center guard, but also keep it as a corner. Springer tapped his stomach, which for most teams usually means control weight.
Control weight being somewhere around 10, right, Trevor?
That is correct. Some teams have their own weight that they like. In juniors, Tyler Tardy's rink had minty fresh. I don't know what that meant, but that's what they had. Some teams have regular. Our team has never used regular before.
Yeah, I mean, every team dedicates a different name for what sort of weight they're using. Generally, you'll have a normal weight hit, which is a little bit harder, a peel, which is going to get rid of a bunch of stones with a lot of weight, and then a lower weight hit somewhere around a control, which is what they just use. And then, of course, you have your board and half weight. Jaden Schwaga just throwing another guard here, just protecting the 2 that they have in the 4 foot, and leaves it a little bit high, but right on center line, staying pretty much guarding both of the rocks in the rings.
The 1 year that I played mixed, I wanted us to use different weight calls that weren't the normal control, normal peel, whatever. Because Tardy had minty fresh, I thought we should create our own, and I wanted to use steak. Like, how do you want your steak? You know, blue, rare, medium rare, well done. Well done being peel, and bloody being like just through. But no one else was on board for that one.
You know, I can't really blame them.
And that's why you didn't make the team.
You guys missed me. Really nice throw there. Did roll in behind the corner. They didn't want to play the hit and roll, but does stick around to sit 2 on the edge of the 12 foot there. You know, it looks like Tyler's going to just be calling the high guard or the top 12 guard. Sorry. Just defending that and trying to play for the force in the 6th.
Christy Gamble as we hit third stones for Team Hartung. Just looking to come to that red or a little bit higher. Tyler's broom is top 12. Usually means that's where about they wanted. Stasha saying, get over there, you rock. And it will. Might be able to see a quarter at most from the hack, but that rock is not going anywhere anytime soon, so a good throw there by Christy.
Yeah, with that guard being placed so far up there, we are going to see a lower weight hit and roll, or hitting on the nose. Sorry, and it looks like they're going to be able to get to it with the amount that these stones are curling here in the final. So this is going to be just a backline sort of hit on the nose and give them a shot on the next.
Jill Springer looking for a quietly tap. 7/8. Chantal Martin on the sweep, but now that they're close to the guard, they got as much as they can. Drew Springer coming in to sweep as the camera starts to glitch. And we'll get it a shade low and sit second rock. Red sitting 1.
Yeah, the call here is just to replace the guard. Just make as much interference on that center line as possible. That was a really nice throw by Jill, but just they're going to take away any sort of opportunity to remove that red stone here. So coming out of the hack, we got the third's, I believe, last stone here for Tyler Hartung.
And Wisniewski Starkel.
Looks like Christie's coming up a little bit light. Just catching the corner of that red guard there. But good outcome regardless.
As our right-hand camera is frozen, we'll take a peek at it here. So it does guard, but there should be a double peel if you just hit half a rock here.
Yeah, on Jill's second here, I think that's probably your best option. Just try and open it up, and hopefully they don't replace it perfectly, and the opportunity arises. But yeah, this is just going to be a straight double peel to open up that front.
Got to curl a little bit to make sure this middle rock goes, and it's going to go tick off the corner guard. And how deep is it going to go? Into the 4 foot, it looks like. Frozen together, Red. See if the other camera has fixed itself, and it has. So there's a look at it. And I was wondering if that yellow would have, the red would have action with it being frozen, playing the peel. And they hit it thin enough that it came a little more straight down than they would have wanted.
Yeah, they definitely didn't hit as much of it as I think they wanted to, causing it to run off that yellow. But now we're seeing a lot of red stones in play and one lonely third shot yellow. So they're just trying to decide what the best opportunity is here. Do you want to try and steal a bunch or steal one? I think the best option here is just to play the freeze or the guard. And trying to avoid giving up any real opportunity for Springer to get any points this end. What are they debating here, Trevor? What do we see?
I was just going to say they're taking a lot of time, and they decided to call their one timeout. We'll take a look at the time clocks here before I try and think about my opinion. Hartung. There's the clocks there. 8 minutes, 55 seconds, 9:14 left. Takes their minute and a half timeout as we'll jump back over here and look at the angles. I'm not sure what they were initially looking at. I think they had called the freeze, like right where Stash's broom was right there, if you keep that angle. Obviously, if you bounce off a hair, I don't think that's bad. Don't know if you want to change those angles too much, though.
Yeah, if you are going to change them, I think they're really good as is. Like, you're not losing both of the reds right now the way that it sits. They're just trying to decide, I think, whether or not there's an opportunity to lose both of the reds and what they need to protect against from Garret on his first.
So they look like the right red is a hair lower to me.
Yeah.
which makes that double a little more tough. But if you are to catch that red on the right-hand side,
I think
thin quarter, I
anything-
think they go.
I think anything less than about a third, they both go. You will lose your yellow stone, but both of the reds will go far enough that they won't be shot.
You might be able to play it to jam on your side yellow at 4 o'clock. That's getting a little extra though, but as the timeout expires, their clock is back in business.
That is their only timeout, so they did end up using it here in the sixth, and they will have 8.5 minutes to play the last two ends of the game, as well as finishing off this one. The call did end up being just a corner freeze on that yellow, trying to take away any option for getting rid of both of those red stones.
So after discussing all the possibilities, they decide to go with their original instinct, freeze on the yellow. Sweepers are just cleaning it. On the right. Campbell on line. Professor Broom on the front saying right here, guys, right here. Froggen now. Looks like they're going to just grease the yellow and freeze the pocket. Nope, they're going to go to the just off nose of the red. Think there is a triple if you almost crotch those.
Yeah, I think you have to hit yellow first if you're going to miss it. But yeah, I
agree.
do think there is a triple there to sit for one for sure.
Dare I say, if you skinny that yellow first, obviously you're playing almost like an in-off. Those two reds are going to bounce off. You might get one of the back 8 ones as well for a quad, assuming that right back yellow doesn't jam on those side yellows.
Yeah, I don't know if I think what you'll see is if they make the shot, how they're looking at it. I think both those two reds in the 4 foot, almost touching the 1 foot, will bounce off each other, and the left-hand red will stick on that back red just off center line. But I think the call here was playing the out turn, so they are trying to hit that front red one first, and then just sit on top is what it looks like the call is.
Garret Springer, 6th end, looking at a few rocks. Trying to move some around as 3 reds are all biting the 4 foot. 2 is backed off, and they will lose 2 of them and their shooter. Red remains shot rock, and yellow right out in front.
It is hard to say. It does look like red is second stone.
Hey, I figured out the replay button. Let's watch this again. Last time I used the replay button, Mike McEwen versus Jordan McDonald came up. So I was scared to use it again, but I was told, don't be scared. Worst that happens is, is this, I guess.
That is the worst case scenario.
I'm assuming it's black for you as well.
It is, yeah, which means it should be black for everybody. That was a great replay, Trevor. We'll try not to do that again.
Just a replay of just showing you that you should be cleaning your rock in the hack.
Call here from Hartung is hard to say. I would assume they're playing the guard. Probably 2.5.
Tyler's last rock in the 6th end. I believe he is sitting 2-1 for sure. If you guard this, Springer doesn't have to run double anymore. Trying to get to center line. Waga hopping over. You gotta go, guys. You gotta go.
And I don't know if they got it over enough.
Only time will tell.
If you do end up making that run double, though, it is only 4-2. The red on the left-hand side is going to be fourth shot stone, so this would only be 4-2.
I think Tyler probably guarded the wrong side if he had a choice, just because Garret needs this red to come back at a slight angle. He needs to hit the side that he can see, ever so slightly, that is.
Yeah, he needs to hit it just a little bit high, and it will come back onto that red. Albeit not a whole bunch. Like he's almost guarded just enough of it to play with any sort of weight. So we'll see what he ends up doing here.
Taking their time on this one. Looks like they're just going to play the tap for one with that broom.
Yeah, so Tyler did get over just far enough to take away that run double for the two. And I mean, that's as best as you can ask for when your rocks don't curl all the way over. So this will be just a lightweight tap for one.
So now Springer has less time than Hartung, but we'll keep their time out for later in the game. Tied 6th end with last rock of an 8-end game. Scoring anything here is huge versus giving up a steal, so they'll play their easiest shot. Chance to score one. Drew now being called on. They're going to get close to the guard. He's going to curl it, get to nose, tap, and sweep it behind the button for a score of 1. A nice shot there by Garret. Springer takes a 3-2 lead. Let's take another look at this. See if I did it right this time. I guess we'll get the full shot replay. If it doesn't go black.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing, but we'll take our break after the 6th end. We'll be back in the 7th end. Springer now with the lead, but Hartung with the important last rock.
Aztec Safety is #1 for online safety training.
Aztec Safety is the proud sponsor of the Aztec Safety Challenge, the #1 event on the World Curling Tour.
And Aztec Safety has been a proud sponsor of Team Jacobs on our quest to represent Canada at the Olympic Games.
Welcome back! Wake up! We got a good one.
And we've got no rocks in play. Oh, there we go. We've got a single rock on the center line. Looks like something must have got ticked off.
Red in the corner, so either they threw it through or they ticked this off center line when they weren't supposed to.
Yeah, we just saw Springer move his rock back onto center line a little bit more. So I think there must have been a little bit of a tick off center line, which takes that red out of play, and he can put it back kind of where he thinks it was. So
which is that would make it Stasha's first complete miss of this game with that rock. We did not see how it happened. For all we know, it could have picked and hogged, but I'm just going to guess that she ticked that rock by accident, as Chantel Martin with 2 beauties and a good setup for Team Springer in the 7th.
Yeah, that's a really good pair to set up in the 7th, being up 1 without hammer. So you're either looking to force or steal here. You'd be happy with either.
Stasha's second now being even more important, with the first one being a miss. Trying to draw around, and there is room to get top 4. Schwag is going to have to work at this one, though, if he wants to get it by. Looks like it's really close. Hopping over to get it to curl. His weight is perfect. You got to get the line there, too. Top of the button. What a sweep by Schwaga. And a great redemption throw by Stasha Wisniewski-Starkel.
Yeah, absolutely. A really good spot, forcing Team Springer to throw a really hard freeze on the corner of that red, just shrinking that scoring zone here early in the end. So right here we got Drew Springer throwing his first one. Like we mentioned earlier in the game, there are 3 Springers on this team. It's Drew throwing second and Jill throwing third.
I wonder if they have a Springer as the coach.
They might.
Now, I haven't seen any coaches out here for this, but if they go to nationals, I'm assuming they'll take a coach.
Really nice throw. A little bit of a tap just to the button or back button, forcing Tyler Hartung to call the peel.
Out of the hack in no time. James Schwaga using my key. Use Schwaga's peel weight and run back ability. Bang, bang will tick and feather the one. But for Hartung, the key getting rid of that center guard, and actually kind of hangs on edge of 8, which could be a useful corner, exposing both the yellows.
Yeah, they're playing as if they're looking for the blank this end, playing very defensively, getting rid of that guard right off the bat. So we are going to see Drew's second one here, just going to be a hit to get rid of that red that is on the button.
A little bit of sweep by Chantal Martin, mostly just cleaning it, as it is a really good throw from Drew Springer.
Now that double that he's calling is pretty thin. I think if you make it, you end up getting all 3 of them. So there's no hurt in giving this a try, and even if you do, miss the back one or miss the one on the far right hand side underneath that card, you could get rid of 2. Keeping out of that.
Oh, hey, how are ya? Bang, bang, Chris Letang. Jane Schwaga.
What a shot by Schwaga there.
Woo! All right, I'm going to press the replay button. Uh-oh. Might have done it too early again. See how he cleans that rock, ladies and gentlemen? This screen is guaranteed to go black, I'm guessing. Just imagine that those 3 yellows aren't there anymore. Oh, are we going to... Oh! It teased us just a little bit.
Almost got to click it a little bit sooner, I think. If we're going to watch a replay, we might have to just go as soon as the rocks stop.
As you know what, the more I practice this, it'd be more important for the 8th end.
Yeah, so it looked like on Jill's first one there, they did just peel off that guard, giving no opportunity for Tyler Hartung's team to get a pair. Basically just accepting that they will be going into the 8th end up 1 without hammer.
And not that matters. In fact, if you're Hartung, I'm just going to say this. It's best case to go through, because if Garret Springer ever wants to play a freeze, you might be
no,
forced.
it would be a tough force if that one did stop in the back of the house somewhere. So, that is, if not what they were calling, it did go all the way through. This
Tyler
one,
Hartung looking back at the clock. Springer with a timeout, but Hartung with slightly more time.
this one needing to be in the house, and it does get there, down to what looks close to T-line.
And we'll hit and roll out again. Probably best case scenario if you're being completely honest.
Yeah, I think the call there for Christy Gamble was just to hit and roll out. They didn't want to stick around. They didn't want any opportunity for freeze here. So this looks like it's going to be just a draw over to a wing and hopefully force an error. Hard sweep all the way down to the hog line, and Drew and Chantel just watch it stop there, just above T-line.
As you can see, Tyler already in the hack. Obviously know what the call is going to be. Wasting no time.
Looks like they're just looking for the peel out here. And it does look like they will get it.
And roll out doesn't give Springer a chance to even freeze if he was tempted. So he's going to try and draw to a spot where he thinks Hartung has the hardest chance of removing it from play.
Yeah, and that's just going to be top forefoot. It gives you the furthest amount to roll and the most amount of air to give up. So they are just going to throw this yellow right to the forefoot and hope for a miss. Just kind of dusting it there into the forefoot.
And will be a blank attempt for Tyler. Some teams like to draw at edge of the wing. I mean, it's a less of a roll for a blank, but sometimes, depending on Skip's tendencies, might be a more difficult slide. But with the intern here, Schwaga, just eating it. And Stash is going to have to sweep this one. And they raised their broom, so looks like he made it. We're going to take a commercial break right now so that we can be here for the beginning of the 8th end.
Who knew after 20 years in real estate I'd have to make silly videos for Instagram and come out behind a tree?
Stu, we need to do this stuff.
Why can't I just door knock into open houses like I did in the old days?
That doesn't work anymore.
Okay, so it's because I'm sitting here behind a tree. Come use us for real estate.
All right, real talk for a second. If your snack situation hasn't changed in years, maybe it's time for an upgrade. The Chocolate Lab makes legit chocolate that's worth paying attention to. That's it. Back to whatever you were doing.
But they blacked out just before.
Welcome back to the 8th end Springer Hartung final mixed provincials here at Martensville in Saskatchewan. Does look like Chantel did drift a little bit deeper than she wanted to on her first. And we had Stasia Wisniewski on the corner guard. Really nice spot there coming into the lead's second stones.
Yeah, obviously not where Chantel wanted to go. Springer playing for the steal or the force here, obviously. This is as good of a TV game as you can ask for. I always love watching curling games where you're down one with hammer.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to be pretty close here on Chantel's second stone. So a little bit higher than I think they wanted it, but a really good spot nonetheless. And we are going to see coming around the corner guard. We won't see double corner guards here this game. So this is just going to be a soft try for the pair, hopefully looking for a miss.
So if they were down two, I would imagine we would have seen the double corners, but Hartung in worst case scenario wants to just get one, so just the one corner guard and the draw around. Now if this one's heavy, they should be keeping it straight to try and tick the yellow, but both sweepers back off. And it will come to rest back of the 12, half open, maybe even a little bit more than that. And we're going to see Springer's decision here. They can either chase that or go aggressive for the steal, although neither of Chantel Martin's rocks are in a perfect spot.
No, the scoring area is still quite large, and that yellow is behind the tee line. So they're going to try and decide how they want to play this, and they are just electing to throw the guard and hope for a Hartung peel.
So here you got second, Drew Springer, after 7 ends, is at a 79% shooting accuracy for this mixed provincial final. And Garret coming up. A fresh set of arms. Try to bite the center line and guard as much as Chantel's rock as you can.
And it does show about a quarter of a stone. So there is going to be a couple of different options here. They are looking at the intern draw there through the hole, trying to get to shot stone. And that is what the call is going to be. So Jaden Schwaga's first stone here is going to be an intern draw to the 4-foot and sit behind the pair of yellows that were thrown by Springer's team.
Schwaga out-curling his opposition second by 1%, sitting at an even 80% after 7 ends of play. It looks like he's going to nudge the corner. If he can freeze right there, worse things could have happened.
Yeah, I mean, if you were going to play the freeze and come up light, that is where you would have ended up anyway. So they did get a fairly good half shot out of that. And we're going to see Drew throwing just a draw around, maybe burying about half of a stone.
Drew coming in with the outturn. There you can see Chantel and Jill Springer on the drum. Trying to lie 3. And if you can suck this one top button, that might be your stolen point. They got to get it by the top 12-1. Martin on the sweep, get it by the second yellow. Now a little bit of curl, bite the 4, just shy of the 4. Bearing 3/4 of a rock. And Springer looking good at the second half, or the first half of this 8th end.
Yeah, that is going to be a 1-2-3 shot for Springer. So Tyler Hartung has no other option but to bail and try and run this yellow guard into that frozen red-yellow combo.
Again, keys to the game. Schwaga, peel late runner. Contact, he will. He'll get 2 of them. He'll get 3 of them and roll for a second corner.
Really
Garret
nice
still
shot.
exposed a hair. Let's take a look at this shot again. Jane Schwaga with the intern. This was a shot where you absolutely needed to make contact in the house. And away goes 3 yellows and a bonus of hanging your shooter on for a corner guard. Nice shot there by Jane Schwaga. And how about that skill set by me there with that replay button? All important 8th end.
Finally got it figured out in the final.
Better
Looks
late
like
than
this
never.
It looks like the call here might be playing the double, I think. The double and roll to the outside.
Jill Springer, her first rock. We have now reached 3rd rocks of this 8th end. He's going to have to curl. I don't think the shooter's going to hang on. They will at least take the red with them, but the shooter rolls away, and now if Hartung can just avoid doubles for the rest of the end, he'll be able to hit his way for the 2, but it's difficult. If you roll away, it might make the double easier because nosing this makes the double really skinny and a risk of throwing a rock right by.
You know, and they did call 4 no's, is what they did ask for. It looks like it is sitting a little bit wide there, so they do are trying to get it back. They do need to stick around more so than anything.
Oh boy, and Schwaga's reaction says it all. Christy Gamble. Untimely miss right there. She was having a good game up till that point. She is at 80% after 7, and now they're going to have to start drawing around their corner guards here as this rock, as we switch the camera here, you can see that's how much Jill Springer is looking at right now. A little more than half of a rock. And the trophy there on the table on the left. Drew Springer on the broom, a little bit out of the hands. On-off action there. Just cleaning it now. Back onto the sweep. And rolls it 2 rocks over towards the center line. Nice throw there by Jill Springer. And wasting no time, just like we thought, Hartung asking Gamble just to draw around the corner guards.
Yeah, just ignoring that yellow at the back of the house there. Right now, that's not something that they're going to be too concerned about. They do and should be trying for their 2 points, and this is the only way to go ahead and get it. So we do have Christy throwing her last one around that pair of corner guards.
Looks like it's pretty close. Sweepers backed off a little bit, but now they're back on. I think you can just clean this one till it stops. If it hopefully sits on T-line, just back T. Really good throw there from Christy Gamble. You can get picky and say it's a little too deep, but it forces Springer here now to make a good one.
Yeah, it is shot stone, so they do have to play to it now. Like you said, if you're going to get picky, yeah, it could be a rock higher, but that does force Springer to throw his first one down that same path and try to make it a little bit better. So we'll see what he does here.
Just over 2 minutes, 2 rocks to go, and I'm assuming you'll just see them use their timeout on the next one just for the sake of using it. And you can see Hartung at 4 minutes has done an incredible job to. They sneakily saved a bunch of time there without us catching on. Skip rocks. 8th end. Hartung with last rock. Line shot rock. Springer's first as the sweepers swap over. Looking to freeze on half of the corner with T-line, but this one is going to be heavy, but will it nudge and sit? No, Tyler will dust it, trying to leave it in the house as potential backing. Hartung now has a chance to suck another one around the corner, or he's thinking about, do you split?
You know, I think in this position I'd want to be splitting. They're going to hit and roll on the open one. And, you know, you have to make it absolutely perfect. Yeah, otherwise, Hartung is going to have a very easy shot to sit for 2. So I think the call here is just to split the house on his first one.
I agree. So you want this one. If you look at the 4-foot, you got the dancing green guy. The left blue guy, if you put it right on his torso, back 4, middle 4 is the best spot. Because that way, if you go too wide and Garret tries to play the freeze again around the corner, you won't be shot. So if you go back there, plus that means Garret probably can't play the roll back underneath the corner to be shot rock.
Yeah, and you know what? You don't even have to play it that far down. You can play a T-line just on the little blue guy's head there, just on the left side of the 4-foot as well. You know, it just takes away any sort of opportunity and a further roll for Springer on his last. So they're just trying to get it anywhere in second shot where if there is a freeze on that red one on the right-hand side, that they're still going to be second.
I expect to see Schwaga hopping over to the other side of the rock to get some curl. They want to get this back T-line if they can. Schwaga now going full snowplow as much distance as he can. And that is a really good shot there. They might just freeze a millimeter on the center line side so that if Hartung tries to blast it, it goes straight sideways into the red over there.
Yeah, I mean that's to play the freeze is. I mean, you really don't have too much else. You can play the hit and roll and try and get underneath that red, but as far as coming close to tying this game, Springer doesn't have too many other options other than playing the freeze here. I'm surprised they're not coming the same way that Hartung did just now. They just saw it, so.
They did just see it, you're right. And if you're looking at the right-hand screen, the overhead, you kind of want to be ever so slightly on the center line side of that red rock frozen. So it kind of makes more sense to take that in turn into it, but they're going to play the out turn and cross it.
You know, and he might just be a little bit more comfortable with his out turns. I mean, we all have a turn that we like more and have a better shot at playing the shot that you're looking for. So he did elect to go with the out turn, and hopefully his sweepers can get it over there just on the hair side of center.
As his timeout expires, Springer needing to be frozen here to leave Tyler with a very difficult attempt at this mixed provincial final. Drew carving it over. Looks like it's going to be close. He's going to jump over to the straight side. You got to make a good one here if you want to have a chance at going to PEI in November. And oh my goodness.
What a shot. He did a great job. Put it right where it needs to be. A little bit of a bounce, but really not much better than he could do. That it might just save his game, take him into the 9th end. We'll see what.
The dog likes that one. As you can see, Hartung has lots of time on their clock. Do you think, let's zoom in here, do you think it's possible to pick that completely clean
It is. There is an opportunity to just straight pick that. And that might be the only shot for 2 that they have.
Now, if he ever touches the red, obviously his shooter's gone no matter what. But let's say he hits a quarter rock, so he's guaranteed to lose the shooter and the red. Does that yellow go underneath the red?
I think it does. That back red is sitting a little bit deeper than the red on the far right hand 8 foot. So I do think that yellow will just slide underneath.
So taking ice outside the edge of the red, I'm assuming this is going to be the straight pick. But
yeah,
for Tyler, go ahead.
The only thing you have to be really careful, you do need to make contact with that yellow. If you catch your back red, that is the game. So
you read my mind. I was going to say he's going to play the straight pick, but you have to make sure you at least touch the yellow. Under 1 minute remaining. Down by 1. Hartung sitting second and third shot. Mixed provincial final of Saskatchewan. Last rock, trying to pick it clean. Jane Schwaga, Stasha Wisniewski. Looks like he's going to get a piece. Straight pick for the win. Tyler Hartung with no room for error gets it right off the face and counts 2, scoring 2 with last rock in the 8th end to win by 1, 4-3 over Springer. Let's take another look at that one.
Yeah, that was about as good of a shot as you could have asked for. Great throw. Sweepers watched it all the way down, straight off the face, sending him into the National in November later this year.
And handshakes and a celebratory night for Team Hartung as they give, let's take another look at this. No sweep needed. Catches a 16th. Hartung pumped. Schwaga pumped. Stasha Wisniewski, Starkel, and Christy Gamble pumped as well.
You know, they ended Springer's perfect weekend here and in great fashion, picking that off for their final 2 in 8.
What a game we had. We had the behind the rock view on that, and it looked like, worst case, they were catching a piece, and they had no sweep on it. Had me second guessing.
Yeah, no, they didn't call for a curl, didn't call for a straight. They just watched it all the way down, and Cinderella's story there at the end of the game for Hartung.
The same way the Scotties ended and the same way the Brier ends will be the same way this ends, where your one loss of the entire week is the very last game. So a well-played game. Skips finished off. Tyler Hartung at 81% and Garret Springer at 84%. So Springer out-curling Hartung by 3%, but Springer heavy on his first draw in the 8th end. Welds his second one down, which I thought was perfect. But Hartung, a millimeter room for error. That's all he needed. Anything else you want to add to that amazing game that we saw?
No, I think that's all I got. Great end to a great game, and we look forward to watching them in the National in November.
That is in PI. One last look at a pick off the face for Tyler Hartung. See you later. Boom. And the fist pump. He is pumped up. Schwaga comes up, gives him the good dap. Thanks for tuning in. My colleague, Brett Redekop, thank you for joining me on this call.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Trevor. And it was a great game.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a good night and a great week.
Hey, Mark, you ready for this game tonight?
Yeah, I'm excited, man. Cupsy, what are you doing over there?
Don't worry, boys. Was just on AztecSafety.com, took a fire extinguisher safety course. Paul, I'm putting out the fires from now on. Woo!